flatlined for 3 minutes. Doctors pronounced me dead. But I saw my body, felt overwhelming love.
And a voice spoke a truth that redefined my existence. Death was just the...
But then, everything changed. This wave, this tsunami of pure, unadulterated love just washed over me. And that's when I heard it. A voice. Not in my ears, but in my very soul. It was so clear, so real, cutting through everything. It said, I have always been real. I am real. I am the truth. Crazy, right? This is Ethan Hayes, and if you're here, you're probably already familiar with Beyond the Veil podcast. Usually I'm the one interviewing incredible people from all corners of the globe, the ones who've had raw, unfiltered encounters with something beyond our understanding. Jesus, angels, demons, the whole spectrum. My co-host, Leo Vance, usually pushes me to share more of my own wild stories. But this one's different. This is the one I've been hesitant to fully lay out, but he convinced me it needs to be heard. So here it goes. We don't have all day, and trust me, I could fill a book with the crazy details, but I'll hit the highlights. To understand what I saw, you gotta know who I was. Growing up, it was just me, my siblings, and my dad. He wasn't religious at all. No beliefs, no deeper meaning to life. Just living. You know, like a lot of people do, without really stopping to ask the big questions about why we're even here. And I picked up on that. Young, dumb, and full of, well, I never gave God a second thought. My reality was what I could see, touch, taste. Right out of high school, I joined the military. Life, fast-paced, adrenaline-fueled. And when you're in your early 20s, especially in that environment, you genuinely believe you're immortal. Death? That's for other people, not you. Never you. But that illusion shatters. Hard. I went through some serious stuff out there. Things that cast a long, dark shadow over me. 5 years in the Corps, then back to civilian life. And suddenly, all that trauma, all that unresolved chaos from my childhood, from my service, it hit me like a freight train. My life completely flipped. Before it was just constant motion. Now it was just heavy. Looking back, as a believer now, I can see it clearly. I was under a relentless attack from something dark, something trying to keep me from the light. I spiraled into the deepest, darkest depression of my life. I tried to cope. After the military, I dabbled. Yeah, marijuana. I was a heavy smoker. I thought it was helping, thought it was filling this massive, empty hole inside me, a void I now know only God could fill. I was trying to patch up this emptiness as an agnostic, an atheist, whatever label fit the mood that day. But even high, staring at the ceiling, I started thinking, really thinking about life, this reality, everything. There had to be a purpose, right? Slowly, almost imperceptibly, I started seeing flashes of something divine, in nature, in the quiet moments. So I'm stuck in this loop, right? Trying to rationalize everything, trying to put God in a neat little box labeled agnostic speculation. Like, if something created us, what's the logical explanation? You get it. And it was around this time, during a seriously messy relationship, living at my ex's mom's place. Yeah, moved in with her mom after the military. Her place was on a lake, and every night, man, every single night, that was my escape, my sanctuary. I'd go out there, usually lighting up, sometimes just chilling, staring at the water. It was quiet, peaceful. I try to read, try to research, anything to make sense of the void. So many nights out on that balcony lost in thought, trying to Google meaning of life. Why am I here? What is reality? You know the drill. But there was one night that was different. It was the absolute pit of my depression. I was out there frozen, just staring into the darkness of the lake, my mind racing, my job, my pathetic relationship, my entire messed up life. It all just crashed down. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Honestly, I'm shaking just thinking about it. I just snapped, broke down. The tears just came, flooded me. And through the sobs, I just started pleading. Not praying, really. More like a desperate, raw cry into the void. If you're real, I choked out. If there's a God, a Lord, anything out there, please, just reach out. I'm drowning. I can't do this anymore. It's too much. Just show me. Show me a sign for God's sakes if you're real. Over and over, I just screamed it in my head. And Leo, dude, let me tell you, the sign I got, it blew my mind. Okay, so you know how sometimes if you have a slight astigmatism, or whatever the heck they call it, lights at night, especially car lights or street lights, they splay out. They look like an X or a starburst. Yeah, I've got that. And across the lake, there were always these tiny street lights from houses on the far shore, just little X's of light shimmering in the dark. I was still sobbing, completely wrecked, having just screamed my soul out to a God I didn't even know, whose name I couldn't even whisper. But then I stopped. Just stopped. Something in me deep down just screamed, look up. So I did. And I swear to you, Leo, I looked across that dark water at those familiar X's of light, and one of them, the brightest one, wasn't an X anymore. It was perfect. Flipped. A clear, undeniable, glowing cross.
My breath hitched. The tears started again, but different this time. Is that you? I whispered, my voice cracking. Are you really showing me this? Is this the sign? And the second those words left my lips, and listen, I know what an astigmatism looks like. This was not that. The cross, this perfectly formed cross of light, it exploded. Right there, blew up. It wasn't just bigger, Leo, it was colossal, like it was rushing towards me, swallowing the darkness, filling my entire vision with this pure, blinding, incredible light, shaped like a cross. It came out of nowhere, just boom, right there. I threw my hands up to my face, overwhelmed, and just collapsed in a heap, sobbing again. But this time it wasn't pain. It was this presence, this overwhelming, undeniable wave of pure peace, of absolute, unconditional love. My heart, which had been racing, just settled, calm. And in that moment, even though I didn't understand it yet, I knew deep down, okay, this was real. This was for me. Now looking back as a believer, I know that was my first true encounter with the Lord, but back then, I didn't connect the dots. The God of the Bible, Christianity, that knowledge wasn't even on my radar. So that cross, that light, it hit me hard, right? But let me be real, dude, that wasn't a poof, I'm a believer now moment. I mean, yeah, I grew up seeing churches, hearing about God, but I still didn't connect that capital G God with the insane, mind-blowing truth that just showed itself to me. It's wild thinking back that out of every single belief, every path out there, that was the one that reached out. The truth, not some vague cosmic force. The actual undeniable truth. All right, so fast forward about 18 months. Yeah, a year and a half. I was still kind of orbiting, not fully in the orbit of what I now know as faith. I had that supernatural encounter burned into my brain, totally freaked me out sometimes, but I hadn't thrown open the door yet, not really. Life was still a whirlwind. My gig back then, I was neck deep in executive protection. Think high-stakes security, big names, big events, spent a lot of time guarding athletes, NFL, NBA, the whole 9 yards. My schedule was brutal, 3 weeks straight of intense nonstop work, then maybe 2 weeks off, rinse, repeat. So one of those rare breaks hit, and this time I actually had a good 3 weeks clear. Perfect. I decided to make the trek down to Louisiana to see my dad. He moved down there running his own company, think heavy machinery, land clearing, tearing down old structures, that kind of thing. When I got there, he hit me with the classic dad line, "Hey, you free hand? Got a job that needs an extra set of muscles." And of course I said yes. I wasn't just going to sit on the couch while he was out there grinding. Told him to forget about paying me. I was just there to help out. Now buckle up, because this is where things get real. I've been there for about a week, and this was day 3 of me playing lumberjack light for my old man. We were on a massive property, almost done clearing it, but there was this one messed up old structure, not a shed this time, maybe an old disused workshop or something, and a massive oak had just crushed its roof. And this roof, it wasn't just wood, it was this ancient corrugated metal, thin but tough, all twisted and jagged from the impact. Think razor blades everywhere. I was up on what was left of that roof, trying to finish off the last bits of the tree. Had it mostly cut up, just this one big log left. I went to swing it off, just hoist it and toss it down. And as I pivoted, the back of that log, this heavy, gnarly piece of wood, it slammed into my leg like a baseball bat. Instinct, pure survival. I felt myself losing balance, felt like I was going to tumble off. So I instinctively threw my hands back, trying to brace myself, trying to catch my fall. And that's when my right hand, man, it just landed. It landed directly on one of those twisted razor-sharp pieces of corrugated metal. You see this scar? It's still insane. It was a gash easy 10, 12 inches running along the inside of my right hand, right from my pinky, all the way to my wrist. Deep, jagged, went right through everything. Tendons gone. And the worst part, one of the main arteries, the big one, the one that pumps blood like crazy, yeah, that got severed too. All right, so my hand's just gaping open. We're talking a legitimate, horrifying chasm. Now, being a former Marine infantry guy, combat life saving was literally drilled into us. I remember thinking, stay calm, Hayes, stay calm. See, when it first happened, the adrenaline kicked me so hard, I actually laughed. Yeah, I know, crazy. My younger brother, Jake, he was on the ground looking up, his face pure confusion. He's like, whoa, dude, what happened? Where's all that blood coming from? Are you okay? And I looked at my hand, and there it was, this giant mangled hole. I instantly recognized the type of bleed. It was arterial, meaning every single beat of my heart was like a tiny pump just spraying my life force everywhere. Dude, I have never ever seen that much blood in my life. It was like a horror movie special effect, except it was real. And it was my blood just squirting, pulsing out with every thump of my chest. It was insane. I basically dived off that roof at that point. My brother, bless his heart, he tried to rig a hasty tourniquet with my belt, but nah, it was doing nothing, like absolutely nothing to slow that fountain down. My old man, he grabs this piece of rope, ties it around my forearm, squeezes it so tight I thought my arm was going to shatter. But the main vein, the big one, the one that cut deep on the inside of my arm, was almost impossible to get at.
So picture this. We're stranded. We're in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana Bayou swamp country. Like, this dude's property was 3 acres of pure wild. Getting an ambulance out here, they told us it was going to be a while. 20 minutes went by, then 30. I'm sitting there literally bleeding out on the side of this dirt track, just waiting. 30 minutes. Felt like a lifetime. And in the back of my head, I knew I had lost too much blood. I could feel it. I was literally counting my own heartbeats, watching the blood just pool. It was like a mini kiddie pool forming around me. But here's the wild part. Even then, I was cracking jokes. My brother, to this day, he still talks about it. He says, Ethan, you're a savage. I don't know how you were joking around. But that's how I kept myself calm. And more importantly, how I kept my dad and Jake from losing their minds, because they were in full-blown panic mode. Finally, the ambulance rolls up. By this point, I swear, I was fighting with every fiber of my being to keep my soul from leaving my body, just trying to stay awake. They get to me, slap on a real, honest-to-God tourniquet, and let me tell you, that was the second most painful thing I have ever experienced. They crank those things down so tight you genuinely feel your bones are about to snap. It's excruciating. The bleeding, finally, mercifully, slowed to a trickle. But they knew. They took one look and knew I'd lost way too much, so immediate call for a helicopter. They drove me to the nearest local hospital, but it wasn't a trauma center. No way they could handle this. So it was straight to the helipad. Gotta fly me to another hospital for an emergency blood transfusion and, to actually put my arm back together. And that's when it hit. I blacked out completely. From their perspective, the medical team's perspective, I had lost so much blood that my heartbeat just faded. It slowed down to a ridiculous crawl. They later told me it got to the point where they actually believed I flatlined for about 3 minutes, just like that first time. All right, so the paperwork confirms it, man. Every time I think about it, it's a gut punch. Traumatizing as hell. But honestly, I'm so damn grateful for where that whole messed up event led me. They told me I flatlined for 3 minutes. 3 minutes! But in that moment, time just ceased to exist. You couldn't even explain it. So I remember them loading me onto the helicopter. The chaos was unreal. But then I remember this one medic, this dude, he's cutting my shirt open to get to me, right? And he sees my Marine Corps tattoo on my chest. He just looks at me, eyes connect, and he's like, Semper Fi, brother, we're gonna take care of you. Turns out he was a veteran himself. And as he's telling me that, it's like a switch flipped. Boom, all black, just gone. It's so hard to describe, Leo.
It felt like I blinked, but I also felt like I didn't blink. Like 1 second I was there, the next I was just elsewhere for a little while. But just for the sake of getting this story out, let's say it felt like a blink. And immediately, the second my eyes opened again, I felt this insane lightness, like no weight at all. And you know me, bro, I'm not a small dude. I'm like 240 pounds. I feel my weight. But there, nothing. No physical weight, no emotional weight. That whole traumatic nightmare I'd just been living, poof, gone. And instantly, Leo, this presence just washed over me. You gotta understand, I'm still seeing kind of dimly, like I'm coming to, but in this profound darkness, my vision felt like it was slowly coming back. So all this is happening at once. I'm feeling this presence, and it's strong, like overwhelmingly strong. Not scary strong, but authoritative, profound. I don't know how else to describe it except maybe like standing in front of your sergeant major, the most powerful figure in your battalion, and just being completely enveloped by their authority and something more. And as that's happening, I see it. My body. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it because nobody can tell me I was hallucinating. Even my agnostic brain from back then can't explain what I was seeing. It was more real than this conversation we're having right now. I literally saw my body.
And immediately I'm like, holy crap, I'm dead. I actually died. I'm looking at myself. There's no helicopter around me. It's just me, my spiritual self, I guess you'd call it now, with a light over me and then my physical body. As the vision, or whatever you want to call it, came more into focus, I started seeing everything. The medic next to my body giving me chest compressions. I saw the pilot flying us to the hospital. I could see the helicopter from the outside now, soaring through the air. And that thought just echoed, holy crap, I'm dead. But here's the kicker. I wasn't freaking out, not even a little, because of that presence that was just washing over me. And then came the love. Dude, it's something I have never felt before in my life. Growing up, I didn't get much of that kind of love. The first intimate love I ever felt in my life was with a woman, my ex, who I was with for a long time. That, I thought, was what love was. Holding her, being together. But what I felt in that moment, that was love times 1,000,000. And that's when I heard it, his voice, telling me, I have always been real. I am real. I am the truth you have been seeking. Man, I get chills just thinking about it. And in that moment, my mind instantly flashed back to my first encounter. And that voice, man, it slammed me back to that night on my ex's patio, staring at the lake when that cross of light just exploded in front of me. It was like a cosmic aha moment. He's always been real. He's always been there. Then boom, my mind wasn't just thinking about memories, I was living them. Flashback to childhood, but not like a movie on a screen. I was there. I saw little me, maybe 4 or 5 years old, on the swing in my grandparents' backyard. And here's the kicker. I was talking, just chattering away, looking up at the sky, but there was no one else around. Just little me swinging and talking. And he, the presence, the voice, showed me. That was me, Ethan. That was me. Can you even imagine? My tiny self having a full-blown conversation with the divine, and I just forgot it, buried it. My family wasn't spiritual, none of us were. So this wasn't some bedtime story, this was real. It blew my damn mind. It was like standing face to face with my past, realizing I'd been touched by something sacred my whole life without ever knowing it. And in that space, time just went out the window. Like seriously, it ceased to exist. You try to put a clock on it, but it's impossible. It felt like months I was there. Then again, maybe it was an hour, or what felt like 2 full days of being in his presence, absorbing everything. It's like the moment you step out of the physical, our earthly clocks mean absolutely nothing. God doesn't operate on our timeline, Leo. That's why I can't tell you how long I was truly gone. Then, just like that first time I blinked into the void, I blinked back.
Except this time, I wasn't in a void. I was waking up in a hospital. 6 hours post-op, apparently. My hand, completely mummified in bandages and a cast. It was huge. And then the doctor walks in, practically beaming, like he just won the lottery. He starts rattling off everything. "Mr. Hayes, you flatlined on the helicopter for 3 minutes. We brought you back. Rushed you straight to surgery. Full blood transfusion. By the way, you're O negative. We had to pull some strings to get enough of your blood type. It was quite the ordeal." He was talking a mile a minute, clearly thrilled I was alive. And then he dropped the bomb. "You're incredibly lucky to be here, son. Given the blood loss, it's a miracle." And dude, here's the thing. Most people would keep this kind of stuff quiet, right? Process it later. Not me. I was so utterly, profoundly blown away by what I'd just experienced, I immediately started telling him everything. I mean, everything. "Doctor," I said, "I saw myself from above. I saw the helicopter flying from the outside. I felt God. He talked to me. He even showed me myself as a kid talking to him. I just word vomited it all out." "Wait, you actually said all of that to the doctor?" "Dude, yes, every single word." And he paused. He gave me this look, not dismissive, not rude, more like fascinated, like I was a really interesting case study. He didn't cut me off. He just listened, head tilted, eyes wide. I could tell he was interested, but I also knew deep down he was probably chalking it up to some trauma-induced hallucination. You know, just the brain doing weird things under extreme stress. It didn't hit him like it hit me. Not really. He probably sees so many crazy things in his line of work. Maybe NDE stories are just another Tuesday for him, but this one, he definitely remembered it. Wow. So yeah, man, I know we're pushing the limit here, and I know I still got another part to get to. So hold up, dude. You literally died. Clinically dead for 3 minutes. You saw yourself, you felt God, and then you woke up and told it all, every wild detail, to the doctor who just saved your life, and he probably just nodded, thinking you were off your rocker?
You bet your ass, Leo. Every word. And you know, it's funny, you being the one who started Beyond the Veil because you heard all those stories. You're practically that doctor. I mean, not that you dismiss it, but you've been there, heard the craziest stuff. This is why you get it. Okay. Deep breaths. So, this whole insane thing, how long ago was this again? Just so people get the timeline. This was just last year, man. 2023. Not some ancient history. Still feels raw. 2023. Seriously? Wild. So, life keeps moving. Obviously, everything's different now for you. But then, if my notes are right, you had another equally mind-blowing experience, right? A vision of something major, like the Lord's return? Is that the second act we need to dive into? You damn right, Leo. The second act. And trust me, it's a blockbuster. Let's get into it. So, about 6 months after that whole near-death ordeal, you know, the one where my hand looked like a shark attacked it, things were shifting. That initial encounter, that moment I knew God was real, it kicked off something profound. For those first few months, I was still picking up the pieces, both literally and spiritually, but this intense pull started, like an undeniable magnetic force, dragging me towards understanding who this God was, the one who spoke to me, the one who saved me from bleeding out. I started diving into the Bible, man, and I mean diving. Before, I wouldn't have touched it with a 10-foot pole, but now it felt like the only instruction manual that made sense. And here's a crucial point. What happened to me next, this wasn't just some crazy dream. This was a vision. And yeah, there's a massive difference, spiritually speaking. Dreams are, well, dreams. Visions, those are direct, unmistakable. Now, don't get it twisted. Even after all that, I was still a hardhead. My entire life, my whole identity was built on being a rugged, self-sufficient, military-bred dude. I carried that ego like a shield. Not arrogant exactly, but definitely stubborn. Learning to truly humble myself, to really listen to what God's word was saying about how we should live, even with salvation being a free gift. That was and still is a battle. I mean, old habits die hard, right? But I was in it. I was digging into his word, getting to know him, trying to shed that old skin. And during that time, this feeling started building in my gut, like the Holy Spirit was dropping breadcrumbs in my brain, whispers, a sense of urgency. It was this powerful, inescapable conviction. We're in the final stretch. Like the clock isn't just ticking, it's screaming. Not in a fear-mongering way, but a profound internal knowing that time is short. And I needed to get my act together. My life needed a complete overhaul. And this wasn't me, Ethan, suddenly getting into Revelation prophecy videos or digging into end times theories. That wasn't my world yet. This was purely spiritual. A divine download straight to my soul. So eventually, after the injury, my living situation shifted. I wasn't in Miami anymore. Me and my ex at the time, we'd moved up to Orlando, got an apartment, settled in. But here's the wild twist. This next vision, it didn't happen in Orlando. It happened back at that same lake house where I first cried out to God, the one where the cross exploded in the sky. I must have been visiting because that's where it went down. It was just a regular night. I was chilling, probably doing some late night Bible study online, maybe looking into something from Matthew's gospel, trying to process all this new spiritual fire. And you know how it is, you're deep into it, the words are swimming, and then you just drift. 1 second I'm awake, the next, bam. It felt like I blinked, like the snap of a finger. And just like that, I was back. Not in my Orlando apartment. No, seriously, it wasn't a dream where everything's fuzzy and you forget half of it. It was like I just teleported. 1 minute I'm laying in my bed 4 hours away, and the next I'm sitting on the patio of my ex-mother-in-law's lake house. The same damn patio where I cried out to God that first time.
My brain was screaming, what in the absolute hell? What am I doing here? This is so messed up. But the thing is, I wasn't just remembering it like a dream. I was there. The sun was out, it was daytime, and I could feel the humidity, smell the lake. It was as real as me talking to you right now, Leo. That's how I knew it wasn't just a dream. This was a vision, an undeniable, visceral experience. So I picked myself up, feeling completely disoriented, and walked off the patio. You know that big sidewalk that goes all around the lake, connects the whole neighborhood? The one where people are always strolling, jogging, whatever? Yeah, I was on that. But something was off, profoundly off. I kept looking up at the sky, trying to figure out why. The sky, man, it wasn't just blue, it was hyper blue. Like someone cranked the saturation up to 1,000. There was an intensity to it, a wrongness that I couldn't place. Something was fundamentally wrong. And then the ground just convulsed. Not a little tremor, a full-blown, gut-wrenching earthquake. My first one ever. Let me tell you, I've seen some wild stuff in my life, battled through all kinds of chaos in the military, experienced all sorts of insane weather phenomena, but an actual earthquake? Never. And let me tell you, you know it when you feel it. I mean, everything was shaking. The trees, the houses, the very air. I lost my footing instantly and just dropped to the grass. Chaos erupted. I looked around and other people on the trail were dropping too, some on their knees, some just falling over. There were people yelling, freaking out, screaming. People were pouring out of their houses, looking around wildly, completely bewildered. And then you had the real ones, man. I swear, I still get goosebumps thinking about it. Some people right there in the middle of this terrifying earthquake were on their knees, not just praying, but worshiping. Out loud, with their hands up to the sky, faces down, not caring who was looking, just pouring their souls out in deep, desperate prayer. You could see the intensity. And then there were others scrambling, screaming, grabbing their kids, running back into their houses, pure panic on their faces. As the earthquake finally stopped and I got my bearings, I jumped back to my feet. Holy cow, that was an earthquake in Florida. That's not normal. And as I'm looking around, gauging everyone's reactions, the terrified, the praying, the bewildered, my eyes finally darted up. And Leo, man, what I saw, I don't even have the vocabulary for it. My mind couldn't have even conceived of this. It was like the very blue of the sky split in half, like a portal opening from a video game or some sci-fi movie effect, but infinitely more real. A giant perfect crack went straight through the sky, and then it started rolling back like massive curtains, peeling open on each side. And as it did, this blinding, pure, white energy just started pouring out. That light, that glowing energy, it wasn't just peeking through the cracks, it was pouring, gushing out as the sky ripped wider, getting closer, fast. Dude, this wasn't some soft, sweet vision of angels floating around. No. This was an event. It was so monumentally powerful, it felt like it was tearing a hole right through our reality. There was this giant, blinding beam of pure light shooting out of the sky's fissure, and people were absolutely losing their minds. And then, off in the distance, it just became a solid sheet of white. Like, if I looked around at the horizon and the buildings, I couldn't see past it because it was just this colossal approaching wall of light. And it was fast. Like, it wasn't just coming, it was enveloping everything around it. I saw the people in the distance, the ones who were on their knees, praying and worshiping. In that moment, the Lord showed me. Those were the believers. And as that white light crashed down, it just swept them up. It wasn't violent, but it was with such immense power. That's the only way I can describe it. Just raw, divine power pouring through. As that white light got closer and closer, swallowing up everything, there were still people running, screaming, trying to escape it. But the ones on their knees, they were lifting their hands, openly rejoicing as that light took them up. And then it was on me. It hit me. Man, I get worked up just thinking about it. The instant it hit my body, I woke up. But I wasn't just awake, Leo. I was screaming, full-on, gut-wrenching, primal scream. I totally freaked out. My ex-girlfriend, she shot up in bed, totally panicked. "Oh my God, what just happened?" she yelled. And I couldn't stop crying. Tears streaming, soaking my face. "Oh my God, you won't believe what I just saw, babe. This is insane." By then, I'd been sharing everything with her, every wild thing I'd experienced since my dramatic, life-altering encounter with the Lord. But this was different. I was just bawling, telling her every single detail of that vision. I told her that was given to me. It was from the Lord. His hand was all over it.
And honestly, she was one of the only people I ever shared that specific vision with. Because everyone else in my circle, man, I pray for them. Especially now, with the urgency I feel. I pray for my family, my siblings, my dad, that they'll be saved. Because just like with your podcast, Leo, the way I stumbled onto Beyond the Veil, the way random people from all corners of the globe are finding it, God gave you this platform, dude, for people to share these stories. And I truly thank you for letting me share mine. I believe it's for a reason. I believe the Lord is issuing a call right now. I don't think a lot of the body of Christ, myself included, can even begin to grasp the urgency that I guess the Lord is pushing out. And that's another reason I reached out to you. I needed to share this. I'd only seen your channel a few times, listened here and there, but instantly I felt this powerful conviction that I had to share my story. The Lord told me to reach out to you to share this quick testimony, because it's not about me, it's just about what the Lord showed me, and I just pray that my testimony can bless anyone who hears it, just like the stories from your channel have blessed me. But I just want to end it with this, Leo. There's a profound sense of urgency in the Spirit. I know the body of Christ feels it, I feel it, and all of these people are having these amazing dreams and visions coming forward because I believe the Lord's return is soon. I'm not setting dates or anything like that because I don't know them. That's never been revealed to me. But the feeling, the knowing, it's undeniable. Look, what I've been shown, what's burned into my spirit is the absolute undeniable urgency of everything. And I'm begging people, truly begging to take it seriously. This isn't some game, man. The Lord isn't some mythical figure. This life, this reality, what's coming next, none of it's a joke. Our salvation, not a fairy tale, dude. This is as real as it gets. Because here's the deal. There's a real destination after this life, and I'm praying with every fiber of my being it's heaven, right there with everyone who surrendered their life to Christ. This is it. This is our moment.
I honestly believe we are the generation primed to witness everything. And again, Leo, seriously, man, thank you. It's been a privilege. Thank you for giving me this platform. I know you're slammed with work, Leo, taking time out for this, and I appreciate it. And you hit on something crucial, man, going back to that vision. You saw it, how those believers, the ones who were ready, who were on their knees waiting, they were swept up. And the others, the ones who hadn't postured their hearts towards the Lord, they were running, panicked, terrified. You get it. It screams how vital it is to have your heart in the right place when it all goes down. And yeah, you're right. It feels like this is happening in our lifetime. People talk about specific dates, September this or September that. Listen, I don't know any of that. The Lord hasn't given me a date. But the urgency, man, I'm with you 100%. It's palpable. Every call, every conversation, it just feels like the clock's ticking louder. I'm deep in it, man, searching my soul, pouring into my family, making sure we're ready. But here's the kicker, and this is what I feel like someone out there needs to hear. Even with all this urgency about the Lord's return, it's not just about fixating on that. Because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. The Lord could come back next month or next year, but you could step outside tomorrow and it could be over for you. That's why we're called to occupy our time, to live with purpose, not to get lost in anxieties about when. And speaking of purpose, dude, I gotta share something wild, something awesome. I'm married now. Yeah, crazy, right? And my wife, she's pregnant. We're expecting a baby girl in October. And yeah, that part of me, the human part, it desperately wants to see her grow up, experience everything, have that time with her. And the Lord, He's laid it on my heart crystal clear. Don't worry about these things. He's already won the war, man. It's done. Our job is to share the gospel, to share this urgency, yes, but more than anything, to share the truth with those who don't have it, to simply live our lives on assignment. Because, like I said, He could return tomorrow, or we could be called home tomorrow. Nothing is promised except His word. So yeah, I just had to share that, Leo, had to end on that note, because you're absolutely right. It's about being on assignment every single day. My focus when I wake up, what does the Lord need me to do today? You mentioned being excited about the potential of Him coming back soon, and I get that. But the real mission, it's warning people. It's spreading this message. It's showing them the truth, because that's what sets them free. And man, you just let me do that right here, right now. And I gotta say, Leo, thank you. This was powerful. This was incredible. I loved sharing it, and seriously, I just pray it blesses so many people. Thanks for letting me lay it all out, man. Really appreciate you letting me share my journey. You said we'd stay in touch, brother, and that means a lot. God bless you too. And then you hit me with it, right? Asked if I'd be up for an on-camera interview for the main channel. Dude, absolutely. That would be epic. We'd have even more time there, you know? And if people want to dive even deeper into the wild, granular details of my testimony, I'm all in.
Oh, dude, you know it. I'd absolutely love to share that. It'll be the first time I've ever laid it all out so openly, you know? But yeah, I think it's going to be epic. Let's make it happen. All right, I'll hit you up with the link right after I wrap these calls. We'll follow up, get that main channel interview locked in. We can go 2-3 hours, man, however long it takes. This is going to be insane. Talk soon, Ethan. For real, Leo, this is going to be legendary. Yes, sir. Let's set it up. Take care, brother. God bless you. You too, man. See ya. Ethan's extraordinary journey reminds us that God is not a distant concept, but an ever-present reality, a source of overwhelming love and peace waiting to embrace us. His story urges us to abandon the search for meaning in earthly things and instead cry out to the divine, for He promises to reveal Himself. With a palpable sense of urgency, we are called to prepare our hearts, to live each day on assignment, spreading the truth of His reality and the profound gift of salvation. Life is precious and uncertain. Let us surrender to His call today. Share your thoughts, and don't forget to follow God's voice for you to discover more inspiring stories.